Welcome to XIO Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 213. The location of the 5 Great Clan test was in a special hall within the inner part of Holy Pill City. This was an exclusive place where all the clan tests over the generations happened. This place had been built by the Pill Tower. From this, one could tell how greatly the Pill Tower valued this test of the 5 Great Clans. This kind of test was not conducted secretly. Instead, it was semi-open to outsiders. Some people with sufficient qualifications and strength would hurry over to this place before the test began. The position of the 5 Great Clans was always watched by a countless number of people because everyone knew that this was a shortcut to enter the upper echelons of the Pill Tower. As long as one climbed this large tree known as the Pill Tower, one's strength and reputation would soar overnight. Currently, the Yi clan's position among the 5 Great Clans was precarious. If it failed to pass the test this time around, it would lose its position among the 5 Great Clans. Once the Yi clan lost its position, other factions, who had already been eyeing their spot, would come swarming in all at once. Hence, many factions, who wanted to get into the upper echelons of the Pill Tower, paid great attention to this 5 Great Clan test. Xiao Yan's group followed Yi Zhang to the front of an extremely grand examination venue that occupied a vast amount of land. They discovered that this place was already packed with black masses of human heads. Occasionally, there would be groups of people, who appeared to have a strong background, passing through the tight defense of the hall's entrance. They would successfully enter the hall. Let's go. Yi Zhang looked at this enormous examination hall. His fists trembled under his sleeves. This place had etched deep memories into his mind. Each test would make him feel humiliated. Yi Zhang took the lead to walk to the entrance of the hall after uttering those words. Xiao Yan's group followed close behind. Yi Zhang's group, which had suddenly walked forward, was naturally quick to attract the attention of the crowd around. Numerous gazes immediately shot over. Private conversations erupted outside of the hall when they saw the clan badge on the chest of Yi Zhang's group. Quick, look, they are members from the Yi clan. If they fail again this time around, it is likely that they will fall from being one of the 5 Great Clans. Once they lose the protection of the Pill Tower, it is likely that the Yi clan will no longer have an easy time. Oh, that's right. Back then, the Yi clan was so grand. Only the Dan clan among the 5 Great Clans was able to compare with it. Unfortunately, now, luck changes over time. A bitterness surfaced in Yi Zhang's eyes when he heard the conversations of those around. The decline of the Yi clan was undoubtedly the greatest blow to him. He had put in everything for the return of the Yi clan. Now, he had even placed all his hope on Xiao Yan. If the Yi clan failed again, it would be finished. Yi Zhang's group successfully arrived at the entrance of the hall in front of many gazes. The many guards at the entrance glanced at the Yi clan's badge on the chest of Yi Zhang's group in an indifferent manner. There was faint ridicule in their eyes. The failure of the Yi clan during these years was a humiliation that was difficult to wash away. Although their hearts mocked the Yi clan, these guards did not dare to publicly make things difficult for them. They randomly waved their hands, moved their bodies out of the way, and allowed the group to pass. At the same time, they cried to the interior of the hall. The Yi clan has arrived. Yi Zhang was expressionless, appearing as though he had not sensed the disdain from the guards. He led Xiao Yan's group. They slowly entered before disappearing from the sight of the countless numbers of eyes outside. After entering the large hall, a warm light scattered down. Xiao Yan sensed that there were numerous gazes containing various emotions being shot over from the hall as the light appeared on their bodies. Xiao Yan gently lifted his eyes and swept them over the interior of the hall. At this moment, there were quite a number of human figures seated on the surrounding seats of the hall. The surprising thing was that most of these people's auras were quite strong. Clearly, they came from some factions or clans that were quite powerful. Yi Zhang did not bother with the various gazes coming from all directions. He was aware that most of these people were anticipating the Yi clan to fail the test, giving an extremely good spot to them. The seats right at the front belonged to the Dan, Cao, Bai, Chu clans, the 4 Great Clans. Yi Zhang led Xiao Yan's group to the seats for the Yi clan as he softly informed them. Xiao Yan's eyes looked over after hearing this. He did indeed see 4 seats at the front of the large hall. However, there were only members from 3 clans currently sitting there. From the badges on their clothes, they should be the Dan, Bai, and Chu clans. Xiao Yan's eyes first paused on the Dan clan, which kept the lowest profile. After which, his eyes suddenly stilled. A gasp was uttered from his mouth because he saw a lovely, small familiar figure among the group from the Dan clan. That figure was the strange, young lady Xiao Yan had met back then at the branch tower when he was taking the alchemist test. The lady also turned her head after appearing to have sensed something when Xiao Yan looked over. Her gaze collided with Xiao Yan for a moment before she hurriedly turned away. She appeared quite timid. This girl is a little unfamiliar. However, by being able to stand in that spot, it is likely that her position within the Dan clan is quite high. Yi Zong's eyes also paused on the young lady. He frowned before turning his gaze to look at a blue-clothed man beside her. His expression changed as he softly uttered, "Dan Zon. It is unexpected that he has come. Looks like he's going to represent the Dan clan in the test this time around." Oh! Xiao Yan's eyes glanced over after hearing Yi Zong's worried words. There was a tall, blue-clothed, young man standing beside the young lady. This man's appearance was handsome, and his brows revealed a gentleness. However, this kind of gentleness was clearly only meant for the young lady beside him. Even though this was the case, it caused the blue-clothed man to appear gentle and refined. Dan Zon. Xiao Yan mumbled the name in his mouth. Coincidentally, the blue-clothed man also turned his head over. He exchanged glances with Xiao Yan before giving him a warm smile. This person is extremely talented in regards to pill refinement. He could be considered one of the top even within the Dan clan, and he is much stronger compared to Cao Dan from the Cao clan. It is likely that the only one who can suppress him within the Cao clan is that witch. If he is participating this time around, he will definitely rank among the top 3. Xiao Yan slowly nodded while he listened to Yi Zong's soft voice. He was about to speak when he sensed some icy cold eyes. Immediately, he turned his head, only to discover that these gazes were shot over from the Bai clan's seats. That old woman, who had been taught a lesson by Xiao Yan that day, was viciously staring at him from the seats of the Bai clan. Her expression made it seem as though she hated him. She seemed to feel the desire to pounce over and eat him. Xiao Yan acted as though he did not see her vicious gaze. He turned his eyes and focused on a white-clothed man at the front of the Bai clan. This man's body was covered in a faint chill. His face was cold. An icy glint flashed when he turned his eyes, causing one to be afraid of looking at him. He is the most outstanding member of the younger generation in the Bai clan, Bai Ying. The Bai clan has indeed sent him. Yi Zhong sighed upon seeing the cold, stern white-clothed man. This Bai clan really did not intend to give the Yi clan a chance to turn things around. Xiao Yan tilted his head. He exchanged looks with Bai Ying for a while. The corner of their mouths were lifted into a hostile arc that was filled with a coldness. While the few of them were conversing, they arrived at the seats of the Yi clan. After which, the few of them took their seats. Compared to the thriving groups of the others, their side appeared somewhat shabby. That Dan Zon and Bai Ying have both stepped into the level of a Tier 7 middle-grade alchemist. They will definitely be powerful opponents. The Chu clan is still fine. Theirs is only a Tier 7 low-grade alchemist and will not pose much of a threat. However, Yi Zong's eyes looked to the Cao clan's seats when he spoke until this point. Currently, this clan, which was flourishing, within the Pill region had yet to arrive. Who will the Cao clan send this time around? Cao Dan? Xiao Yan appeared to be aware of Yi Zong's concern as he softly asked. There are 3 people within the Cao clan who are called the future pillars of the clan. Among them, the strongest is Cao Ying, the witch, while Cao Dan is the weakest. There is one person above Cao Dan called Cao Shu. This Cao Shu's pill refining talent cannot be compared with Cao Dan, but he wins in terms of being far calmer than Cao Dan. After becoming an adult, he left alone and headed out to train. After returning to the clan 7 years later, he had jumped to the 7th tier. Based on my guess, he should currently have reached the Tier 7 middle grade level. Cao Dan was defeated by your hands last time around. This time, the Cao clan will likely send out Cao Shu. Yi Zhong analyzed the situation. Xiao Yan slowly nodded. This Cao clan was full of many talents. It was not without reason that it was able to possess such a reputation. At the very least, the Yi clan was much lousier when compared to them. The Cao clan has arrived. A loud, clear cry was suddenly transmitted from outside of the hall while Xiao Yan was sighing in his heart. After which, it continued to reverberate around the hall for some time. Waves of commotion sounded within the large hall when this cry appeared. Quite a number of factions, that had been sitting quietly, hurriedly stood up. Their faces were full of smiles. With the current position of the Cao clan, the clan was worthy of their bootlicking. Xiao Yan also turned his head over. His gaze landed on the entrance to the hall. The tightly shut door at that spot was slowly opened and a graceful figure walked in from the shadows with soft, slow steps. This graceful figure walked out of the shadows and appeared in the light. The atmosphere within the large hall instantly became sluggish because of this figure's appearance. This lady had a tall and lovely figure. She was wearing a black-colored dress that emitted traces of her cold and haughty demeanor. Her skin was like snow. Her long hair scattered randomly over her shoulders. Her face was thin, but was exceptionally exquisite, appearing just like a porcelain statue that made one feel a desire to fondle her admiringly. This lady stood at the entrance of the hall. She raised her eyes slightly. Her long eyes contained a slight laziness while emitting a trace of enchantment, causing her to appear exceptionally alluring. Quite a number of people within the hall had become absent-minded because of her enchanting figure. At the same time, the lady's long lips slowly lifted into a faint curl. The instant this arc was lifted, her thin and enchanting face was instantly filled with temptation.